This story is about Alice's descent into fucking utter and complete madness. Now, there's a flip side. Because when your mind is so broken and you have an experience like that, where that creature comes walking down at you, when you see the woman of your dreams is right standing behind you, and then she comes strolling right at you. After a day, like I just fucking explained, it'll fuck you up. And when you already got a fucked up mind that has a hard time grasping reality, you don't know what to think. Up is down, left is right, banana is giraffe. There's no sense to anything anymore. But by the will of the gods, I just happened to be reading through the looking glass. Which, as I mentioned, is a mind fuck. But when your mind is fucked, the best way to unfuck your mind after your mind is already fucked is to read the thoughts of another human being that are just as fucked as you. So 3 days later, when I finished the book, specifically the part with the knight that can't fucking sit on his horse, he keeps on falling over. And thank God for that white queen, I swear to fucking God. 'Tis an abysmal thing, a mind that can only think one direction. It's a queer thing to be able to remember things forwards and backwards, but it has its uses. I remember having a really good time tonight. I remember today being really awesome. I remember today being one of those, fuck, I have to do that now. But 3 days later, what happened was my mind subdivided. Again. But this time it actually made sense. And it made so much goddamn sense that I was just like, you know what? All right, fine. Fuck it. This is the way. But at the same time, I realized what happened. I just unlocked my Gemini. You see, the thing about astrology, and you'll notice that I wrote this in my first work, How to Break a Life, which she has right now. Because a few months later, once we started talking on a fucking daily basis, no complaints whatsoever. She was the only thing keeping me alive. And I believe vice versa. So it made sense to me over the course of time why this person needed to be in my life, because there's no fucking way that I would be able to do this without her. Because the reason I was even doing the things that I was doing, one of the reasons I was doing the things that I was doing, was for her. Because I wanted to be doing it with her, but I couldn't. Instead, I had to do it with everybody else who I didn't want to do it with. I had to be taken advantage of, allow myself to be exploited, talked down to, and ultimately fucked over for money. Thank you, Uncle Hugo. In my mind right now, I'm seeing Herr Hugo Ferdinand Boss right fucking in front of me. And I see me beating the living piss and shit out of him because I can't take it out on his minions because it's not their fault. We're talking about a fucking entity whose origin is sucking Hitler's dick. They don't teach you that part in the corporate training. They tell you the pretty parts. We're sorry. We didn't mean to use slave labor. We're sorry. Sorry for the past. You fucking miserable pussies. How dare you be sorry for your past? Fucking own it. Big boy the fuck up. But anything to suck the dick of anybody who's got some money. Power. Their motto, be your own boss. Do you know how despised that saying is within the company? Here's some trade secrets. You ever go work for Hugo Boss? Make believe be your own boss isn't even a thing. Because it's not. It's just a cute little catchphrase to sell more shirts. That made me feel really good to say. I want to hate the people so bad. I do. I want to crush them all, crush their little souls. Because there's a part of me that sees every single one of them as the enemy. An enemy whose soul I want to suck right out of their crumbly, shitty little husky fucking shell. The fucking nightmare that I went through working at that goddamn place day after day after day after day. But I stuck through. So many times I could have walked, but I stayed. I took it. Because as much as I thought that there was that part of me that said, you're not just doing this for you. Because her life would turn into hell if you leave this place. So just take it a little harder. Because the way that these fucking idiots are running this operation, it's not impossible that we're going to actually be able to take that bitch over by unanimous vote. Yeah, I mean, maybe you just gave me an idea. You just gave me an idea. I got to reach out to investor relations because I want to propose a vote. Put Derek in charge. Why? Because I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm going to intentionally try to fuck everything up. Because that is the only way to go from the top 100% brand to the top 5% brand. You have to break the fucking mold, idiots. Stop fucking copying everybody else. That's why you're falling apart. That's why nobody wants to work in the goddamn Northeast region. Plus, I got a thing for Nazi memorabilia. Because I fucking love Nazis. I have this book I'm reading. It's called Zodiac and Swastikas. It's so fucking good. It is an autobiography by Himmler's personal fucking astrologer. And as an astrologer, I know what he's doing. It's not an astrology book. But he talks about his work and how he does it. And because I'm also in that same trade, I can see what he's saying and go, holy shit, I never even thought about it like that before. I'm actually learning Nazi astrology. Because there is such thing as Nazi astrology. And it makes me so proud to be able to carry on that tradition and merge it with my own. Because I know exactly what the fuck they were doing behind the scenes, and I fully support it. Behind the scenes, behind the Jew thing. I get what they were doing. And I know why they were fucking doing it, and I 100% fucking support it. And I have something close to Jew blood running through me, so I can say that with impunity. Because I love my Jewish side. It's magical blood. I've never asked one yet, but I bet you, if I were to ask a Jewish person if they believe that they were the descendants or if the descendants of the Nephilim still exist today, I bet you they'd say yes. And I bet they say, we're talking to one. But you already knew that, didn't you? Which is why you even asked the question. 100%. Because you were just using us to confirm everything that you wanted to believe. Yep. Because what we believe happens to be the exact same thing you believe. Yep. We don't get that. Neither do I. Because I don't have any Jewish family members. I have absolutely no connection to Judaism except for the fact that the church also runs in my blood, but on my father's side. So I have the best of both worlds. Both the blood of the oppressed and the blood of the oppressor. Isn't that fucking something? Because here's the thing, is that humans, race-wise, you guys have your own history, which we appreciate. We love it. Because without your history, we wouldn't exist. But at the same time, we have our own history too. And there's something a little bit offensive when it's not taken seriously, mocked, called crazy, bullshit, woo-woo, make-believe, weird. If I come on here and say nigger, kike, spick, gook, I say that shit, yeah, no problem. Off, done. Flagged. Red card. But we want to talk about how sneaky the gypsies are, how gross and disgusting witches are. How disgusting and shameful the Aryans are. I have Aryan blood in me, but I also have Mediterranean blood in me as well. And African blood. And Japanese blood. And Colombian blood. Bits and pieces. Tiny little percentages, but you know what? They're fucking there. But you know what else I got? You know what I fucking got that you can't find it on a fucking DNA test? It's witch blood. Nephilim blood. Holy, sacred, chosen one blood. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to do the fucking things I can fucking do. He's having a meltdown. Of course I am. Because I have never known oppression like I have since fully embracing it. This guy's out of his fucking mind. He's having a total freak out. Oh, you bet your ass I'm having a fucking freak out. Why? Because I don't know if I have a fucking date tonight. And if I do, I gotta get this shit the fuck out of me. Ugh. What happened with the girl? What happened with the girl? What do you mean what happened with the girl? We still talk. Pretty much on an everyday basis. Better question would have been, why were you reading through the looking glass? That's a good question. I like that question. Because the day that I started reading it was the day that I finished reading Alice in Wonderland. Why were you reading Alice in Wonderland? Aren't you a 39-year-old man living with your mom? 42, actually. At the time, I was 41. Or 41. Well, the reason I was reading Alice in Wonderland was because the day that I started reading Alice in Wonderland was the day that I finished reading The Red Queen by Christina Henry, which I highly recommend. But I wouldn't read that one until you first read the first book in the series called Alice, also by Christina Henry. You see, Alice, this is more of an adult book, adult themed. I wouldn't give this to kids to read. I wouldn't give my kids Alice in Wonderland to read. I probably would. Gotta teach them to embrace their crazy. Because they're crazy when they're kids is actually normal. It only becomes crazy when they turn into adults because no one ever told them to embrace it. No one ever tried try to nurture that. Probably because they didn't bring it up, because they were scared. Because they saw that same behavior playing out in their lives. They thought it was just a dream. But no, it's real. The nightmare is real, kiddies. Now, Alice picks up about, 8 to 10 years after Alice in Wonderland. Alice's family finally had enough of her shit, and they put her in a fucking loony bin, where she had been for 10 years. But what no one ever told Alice, and she later learns in the book, spoiler, is that she has the blood of magicians running through her veins. You see, in the city that they live in, it's different now than when it was. In the old times, the city was run by magicians. They were the politicians. Those were the wise men who kind of used their magic to make everyone else's lives magic. But then came the oppressors. Then came the ones who got rid of all the magicians and outlawed magic. So by the time Alice is born, she doesn't know any of these things. But she grows up because people don't talk about it. They don't talk about it because, no. No, you can't talk about that stuff because the last time people were openly witches, they got burned. When the church came to power. Thousands and thousands and thousands. I just heard the word millions used. It was a purge. It was a purge of the heathens who didn't want to give in to God's law. Now, I know we're saying, well, Derek, wasn't the Jewish people who burnt all those witches? It was the Christians. I know. But where did the Christians come from? But I'm also an open-minded Holocaust denier. As in, I deny that it happened exactly the way they said they did. I have an open mind about it. I know that there's more than one side to a story. So, at the end of the day, I forgive the whole thing. And I forgive myself for it too. It's like I forgive myself for all of this rotten hate talk. Madness. Ranting and raving. Maybe that's why your son doesn't talk to you. Yeah, maybe. I just want to point out, do you think I never thought that before? Of course I have. Because by people's standards, I'm completely out of my fucking mind. That's why I have to come out here to do shit like this. Can't do it in the house. Can't do it out on the walking trail. No, I have to come into the middle of the fucking woods next to a goddamn cancer beam and just allow myself to completely lose my fucking mind so that when I go back out into that world, I don't completely burst. I don't pop. And I don't just fucking stand there. People don't drive by watching me standing in the middle of the street naked, screaming and pointing at fucking garbage cans. Because I know who that guy is screaming at. I know exactly who he's screaming at. He screamed at all the people that he never got a chance to scream at in his normal life. But it drove him to such insanity that he has to project his hate and his vile pus and poison onto that garbage can. Because he knows that if he tried with those other people, they wouldn't even listen to him. They just lock him back up again. Because that's what happens when you open your mouth. That's what happens when you open the magic box. You get shut down. Do I hold? How did this go from a girl to fucking a rant about the, what do you call it? The discrimination of witches. Huh. And the discrimination of witches does not stop once you clock in at Hugo Boss. There will be people that tell you that if you're in a different store, they wouldn't let you do that. I don't give a fuck if that's your religion. You ain't doing that in my store. Why don't you take that ring off too? Because if you get me fired, I'm coming to your house. That was a threat I got. Oh, my boys. My boys would be coming right after you. Why? Because if anything happened to me, they have to get somebody. And if you're the only one around, it has to be you. What? Wait, what? Did I just get my fucking life threatened again? No, I didn't tell that to the compliance department. Not yet. Not that it matters. Yesterday is yesterday. And I understand why all those things happened. They weren't direct threats. More like scenarios. But you'll learn a lot about business working there. And if you're doing it in part because of the sake of another person, it's okay. It was worth the experience. Because that aside, the education of working at a place like that, especially when you're an entrepreneur who wants to expand into every corner of every market, working at a place like that at the very bottom, it can teach you things that you won't be able to learn anywhere else. Especially when you put yourself into the mindset of, I'm the boss. I'm the undercover boss. I'm just here to observe and blend in with the crowd. and act like I'm doing not act like I'm just another regular person. Don't mind me. Although, once you tell everybody that you're Kylo Ren, they're like, yeah, no, we knew as soon as you walked in the door. As soon as you said, hi, my name is Matt. Fair enough. You want to go to war? We'll go to war. I do. Not supposed to be talking about company secrets. You're not supposed to be saying anything negative about the company. That's in the rule book. But is it negative if it's the truth? My sister once said to me, actually at my sister's wedding, all of her friends, they knew me, like people I had no idea. But everybody knew the brother. The crazy wild brother. You talk about me when I'm not around. Yeah, but it's not mean if it's true. Touche. It's not negative if it's true. It only seems that way at first. See, everything right there could have got me fired. Everything right there could have got me named and shamed. Derek Pignataro. Michael Pignataro. Everything I just did that could potentially bring down the stock price could have got me a real hefty fine. See, because they control their employees by fear. It's emotional manipulation and mental manipulation. It's magic. They use magic. They use black magic. I don't know if they realize that they're doing it, but they do. Intimidation. Oh, they definitely use intimidation. I've seen that. Scare tactics. Do what I say or I'm going to write you up. What? You really need to be doing something more with your life. What? I really wish I can give you a day off. What? No, I can't pay you for that because of reasons. Yeah, but the last time we talked about this, that reason didn't exist. Does now. It does now because it's you. Oh, and by the way, you're going to work the next 9 days straight. I'd like you to work 14 days straight, but for some reason you're going to get some balls and not come in one day. But I don't blame Hugo, Uncle Hugo. No. Because when you're just one of the top, you're not even in the top 100 brands, and you're just barely trying to keep up with everybody else. Now you got to do whatever you got to do. It's nothing personal, it's just business. But that's why I hold on to one share. Because I come from the school of thought. See, I come from a background where shareholders are respected. I used to work in radio, in the radio industry, for a couple years. That was a good experience. But when the shareholders came, whoa, all right, everybody be cool. These are important people. Why? Because they're investors. Because if not for them, we wouldn't be here. You only own one. Yeah, in the school of thought where I come from, so I practice numerology. I also practice gematria, which is Hebrew numerology, and a couple other different forms, and I've developed my own. But something I've learned is that 1 is equal to 3. 3 is equal to 3 million. And the one that I have is so much more powerful than all the other ones put together. Because I don't have to rely on numbers to give myself a false sense of security and power. I'm perfectly fine by myself. I've been maintaining by myself for 5 years. Officially. But even before that, even with people around, friends, family, I was still alone. I felt it. I put myself there because that's where I wanted to be. Which is why when this woman came into my life, to the degree that she's at, and then there's this sense of she's going to take away your solitude. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Because this was written long before you were even born. This shitty grin off your face. Why were you reading Alice by Christina Henry? That's a good question. Because at the time, I was actually in the middle of witch school. Or I had just started, or I was about to start. This is a story that spans over the course of several months, mind you. So in the principles of magic that were being applied in the book Alice started to really take shape in my mind. And I started to implement them into my personal craft. And then we start throwing in magic school. Witch school. We got a recipe for fucking disaster. Because hey kids, you want to buy magic? If you want to quit your job, if you want to fuck over your boss, if you want to fuck over boss, or any shitty company that you work for that doesn't appreciate you the way that you know you should be appreciated, the way that you know that they know that you should be appreciated, think about it next time they tell you that you can't get a raise. Take $175 and invest it in an LLC. They don't have to do shit with it. But what's going to happen is that entity is going to infect your mind like a fucking virus. And you're going to turn into the nightmare that everybody that you've ever known fears you to become. We're familiar with mindsets, right? Heard of a mindset? You have to change your mindset. You got to change your belief to change your mindset. Well, the best way to change your belief in what you're capable of is to buy a business, to form a business, and then let that infection spread. Because the more that you start to realize that now that this thing is in your possession, you have all of the power that those other assholes have. You actually have more power. Because your manager, who you're trying to avoid having to talk to, the difference between them and you now is that they work for a company. You own a company. That job that you just had now just becomes a hobby. Because what it's doing is now that hobby is funding your company so that you can invest in anything that you want, because nobody can tell you what you can't do as a business owner. Because your business is your business. As long as you pay your taxes if you're getting paid. And here's the thing, you don't even need to be doing it for money. There's such a thing as a non-profit. You can stay at your job, but now you have a little extra couple inches on your dick so that the next time somebody steps to you and tells you whatever the fuck it is, I don't give a fuck. I'm just here for the paycheck, man. A bit of an education, and to keep funding my operation, which, now that I'm thinking about it, I'd rather be doing that and not making any money than come sit here every fucking day with you assholes and have to worry about if I'm going to get bitched at, or if I'm going to get a raise, or what kind of asshole's going to walk in the store and bark orders at me like I'm their fucking dog. Sorry, bruh. Do you feel better? Yeah, I feel a little worn out, but I feel better. That's not gonna lie. I used to feel pretty goddamn good. I think you did really good. Give yourself a pat on the back. Thank you. Sorry, Uncle Hugo. Forgive me. So with that, let's set some intentions. Because with tomorrow's new moon, Taurus new moon, as a matter of fact, Taurus is a fixed earth sign. It's ruled by Venus. So it has Venusian characteristics to it. That's how we can understand what Taurus is trying to share with us about ourselves. It's about comfort. It's about luxury. It's about the finer things. What are some of the comforts and finer things that you'd like? What kind of foods do you want to be eating? What kind of drinks do you want to be drinking? What kind of clothes and fabrics do you want to be wearing? What kind of sights do you want to see to tantalize your optical lobes? How do you want to be touched? Caressed? What kind of sheets do you want to lie in? Do you want to sleep in pajamas, or do you want to sleep naked? And take a nice salt bath, a nice sponge bath with a really good exfoliation, a nice massage, or maybe even a nice energy cleansing, a nice Reiki session. Ah, delicious tarot reading. Because the idea behind this, new moons are a great time to be planting seeds and setting intentions. You see, the new moon is the ideal time to literally plant seeds. That's why we have a farmer's almanac that keeps incredibly detailed information as to the cycles of the moon. Come in handy. Now, this new moon, what we're probably going to see is in about 6 months, approximately 6 lunar months, what we're going to see is a Taurus full moon. Now, over the course of these 6 months, what's going to happen is we're going to plant those seeds today, tomorrow. And over the course of the next months, if we nurture those seeds, water them, take care of them, sing to them, by the Taurus full moon in 6 months, you're going to see a little leaf pop up out of the soil. Just one little baby leaf. And we're going to become plant mommies. And the reason for that is because the divine is letting us know you're doing a good job. We're all really proud of you. Thank you. But on top of that, we also have it's also the first day of a new lunar cycle that's going to end on the new moon in Gemini next month. Gemini is a mutable air sign. It's represented by the Gemini twins, Castor and Pollux. They're not too dissimilar from Metatron and Sandalphon. It's the soul and the body. The physical twin and the spiritual, energetic twin. It's also a sign that speaks to us about relationships, partnerships, communication. Because in order to live a life where those intentions we're setting right now actually come to fruition, we also have to recognize that we're going to have to be able to do and say and work with the people that are going to help us get there. We don't know who they are just yet. We might have an idea. of who those people are that are going to help us achieve these results. Hi, Uncle Hugo. But they're there. And over the next cycle, we may actually notice more and more how those people start to sprout up. Hey, it's funny you say that, because I think you could help me with this. So over the next month, what we can actually expect as the moon circles around us is that we're going to start to begin to see a lot of opportunity pop up, especially over the next 2 weeks. Which is going to culminate at the Sagittarius full moon in 2 weeks from now. Which is also going to afford us a really good opportunity that is going to be incredibly potent in our plans and our goals and our missions in life, purpose. Because the arrow is attracted by the target. And a full moon is when the moon is in full illumination. It means we're going to be able to see a lot more clearly than we can in the dark. But do we know what we're looking at? No, what we should probably do is kind of do some reflection. Just like the sun is reflecting off of the moon. Let's start looking into that darkness behind us. Because the moon is lighting the way for a reason. You see, the full moon is a perfect time to look back. How did we get to this point? What was the sacred timeline that I was following? What was the path of my arrow? Because the intentions that we're setting right now, we're kind of aiming up. Because I want to go over there. That's where I want to be. As much as I love this spot, that's a little tastier looking. So let's look back. Let's break out our moon journals. Let's go through our Sagittarius sequence to see how the timeline has been playing out behind us. How the fuck did we get here? Oh, I remember. I wrote it all down. Does everything we see behind us kind of line up with where we're going? Because this next new moon in Gemini, which is going to be here in fucking only 4 weeks, what the hell are we going to need? Gemini is all about education as well. Do I know what I need to know in order to get to the place where I want to be? If I want to be sitting at the fucking CEO chair of Hugo Boss with my feet up and my dick out, it might be a good idea for me to learn. It'd probably be a good idea for me to sprechen sen Deutsch. And if I want to be sitting in that fucking CEO chair, my feet up and my dick out, wearing my Hugo Boss shirt with Hitler's face on it, and a fucking red banded swastika on my left arm, I'm gonna need some people with some graphic experience. And someone who can make a shirt. Right on top of my black Hugo Boss shirt that already exists. Oh, nigga, I'm the boss now. And say that, but in Deutsch. He's fired. She's fired. Go get me coffee, dickhead. And I changed my mind. Neither of you are fired. You're not allowed to quit. And you're not allowed to kill yourself either. Oh no, it's gonna say Hugo's boss. CEO chair, feet up, dick out, black shirt, Hitler, Hugo's boss, red band with the swastika. And you know what? On the other side, I'm gonna put the Star of David on there too. Just to show my support for Israel. Not so much the country I don't give a shit about, but the Lord. He who sits on high. And he who sits on the throne below. Do you feel better? I feel so much better saying. Chump motherfuckers, so on my shit. Chump motherfuckers always scheming on my shit. All right. Got another 10 minutes. But that's just an example. This is for educational purposes anyway, so. Because you gotta remember, my opinions are my own. And they're based on my own conjecture. And at the same time, I'm also the same person that realizes everything happens for a reason. Nothing's on accident. There's no such thing as chance. Chance is the name of a science that hasn't been discovered yet. It's called the divine. The will of the forest. But all of this light needs to come out in order for me to enjoy the rest of my day exactly the way that I need to enjoy it, because let's just say I do go on a date tonight. I don't want to bring that shit with me. I don't want to do that to her. She's better than that. But even still, even if I don't go out tonight again and I spend another Friday home alone recording this, I'd much prefer that tomorrow, especially tomorrow, I'm all in. Because all that anger, all that rage, divine anger, it's serving a purpose right now, because what it's allowing me to do is, by exercising certain perspectives, it's allowing me the opportunity now to kind of shift perspective and look at the opposite. And just kind of see things from a different lens, because that same passion, that same oomph, I mean, where can we apply that? Let's apply that to these intentions, because I need some new clothes. I need some new shoes. Socks. I definitely need new socks. And I only buy one specific pair, one kind of socks. So, I mean, and those are not easy to come by. The only store I know of right now, as of right now, is in San Diego. And it's like, these fucking socks are $14 a pair. Like, that ain't cheap. But my sock drawer needs an upgrade. I need a heavier blanket. Oh God, I can feel it already. Like almost uncomfortable 20 pounds. And I need another weighted support stuffed animal for my lady friend who wants one that's really dark and scary looking. Because if the lady wants a scary stuffed animal, the lady gets a stuffed animal that's scary. And I need a new motherfucking diet. A new raw diet. Fruits and vegetables. Nuts. Healthy milks. Healthy snacks. All the shit that I used to indulge in before I ran out of money the first time. Will set my last $10 on fire. I did that. That was me. You already know. I know you know. It was a protest. Not gonna let this fucking dangle over my head no more. Ain't nobody gonna dangle it over my head anymore. Even boss, I hear Uncle Hugo calling at me. It's been 2 weeks since compliance talked to you. What's the update? I gotta take the money aspect out of it and not give a fuck about the money and just see it as an opportunity to be a fucking pain in the ass to an entity that's got me super pissed off. But what if they take it out on people you know? It's possible. That's a risk I'm willing to take. Because every time they fire somebody I know, I think I might hire them. And I'll put them on my board of executives. Hugo's Bosses. An affiliate, a wholly owned subsidiary of Hugo's Boss. My holding firm that holds onto my one share of Hugo Boss stock. It's called Hugo's Boss. But Hugo's Boss is owned by the Toxic Order, LLC. But it's also a part of Toxic Business Solutions. So there's kind of a little bit of a ladder that goes down. See, because first you have part of the Toxic Family Group is you have the Toxic Order at the tippy top, which is encapsulated by the One World Toxic Order. But beneath the Toxic Order, LLC, there are multiple subsidiary entities that are just kind of waiting until I have the money to start investing in making them legal entities. More legal entities. Official legal entities. Well, I mean, they are official. They're owned by the company. Just because they're not registered with the state doesn't mean they don't exist. Business is all about intellectual property. You want to steal company secrets? You don't have to fucking read a document or a pamphlet. Just go there and work. They'll teach you everything that you need to know. How to and not to do things. Business Class 101.